Hey, it's Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader, and welcome to the Black Belt Leadership Podcast, where each week I'm giving you tips, tools, insights, and resources to help you become better at who you are and what you do. In this week's episode, I want to talk about the creative power of I am as we talk about affirmation statements. I want to title this particular lesson, Affirm This. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. What we affirm to be true, our minds believe. And what our minds believe to be true, our thoughts work tirelessly to bring those things into existence. Now, this statement, life and death are in the power of the tongue, it is an ancient proverb. And that ancient proverb reveals a success principle that's often overlooked to our own detriment. The failure to adhere to this powerful success principle only serves to limit your potential, to cap your ability, and to shortchange your future. Let me say it again. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. Or to put it in plain English, life and death are in the power of the words we speak. What you and I speak can and does come true. Now, there's a unique power in the spoken word that reinforces our thoughts, cementing them into our psyche, into our subconscious as a firmly held belief. What you and I continue to speak and affirm, we anchor deep within ourselves, and it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that what we speak ultimately defines our lives. Now, you've heard me share this quote before, but I want to share it again because it's apropos. Henry Ford, the famous inventor of the Model T, once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." Affirmations take Ford's statement one step further. Whether you say you can or whether you say you can't, you're right. Because what you say, you believe to be true. And what you believe to be true becomes reality for you. Now, why is that important? You need to understand that your words reinforce your thoughts. I think back to rebar and how we use rebar to strengthen concrete. If you're pouring a porch or you're pouring a pillar, you put rebar into the concrete to make it stronger. Your words do much the same to your thoughts. What you speak to yourself, what you speak about yourself, and what you say to yourself ultimately becomes how you see yourself. And that determines how you're going to live and experience life. Now, let me give you an example. Many of you probably know the name Joel Osteen. Joel Osteen and his wife, Victoria, pastor Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas. Now, whether you're a person of faith or not, there's an important lesson you can learn from Joel and Victoria. Tens of thousands of people from the Houston area gather together each week to be encouraged, to be inspired, to be uplifted, and to be challenged by Pastor Joel's unique style of teaching. Millions more around the world either watch his service on television or they listen to it on the radio. Now, one of the success habits Joel picked up from his father, John Osteen, is this: the power of positive affirmations. During each live service, Joel has his audience stand, and together they speak a series of positive affirmations, words of declaration, as he often refers to them, over the lives of those in the audience. Here is that affirmation statement: I am blessed, prosperous, redeemed, forgiven, talented, creative, confident, secure, disciplined, focused, prepared, qualified, motivated, valuable, free, determined, equipped, empowered, anointed, accepted, and approved. Not average, not mediocre. I am a child of the Most High God. I will become all I was created to be. in Jesus' name. Now, what is Pastor Joel doing? He's helping those in the audience tap into the creative power that resides within each and every one of us to reshape how we see ourselves, to redefine what success looks like to those in his audience. Joel is essentially saying and having his audience repeat with him, affirm this and watch this come to pass in your life. Now, do you remember the story of the little engine that could? There was a train stranded, and if you've never heard the story, let me give you a summary. Train is stranded and unable to find an engine that's willing to pull it over difficult terrain, which included a large mountain toward the end of the pass. When no one else would step up, finally, a little blue engine stepped up and said, if no one else is willing to take on this assignment, I will. Now, despite the sheers, sneers, jeers, and negative comments of the other larger engines around, the little engine ignored all the naysayers and attached itself to the train. This little blue engine refused to listen to the naysayers that were constantly speaking negative things over the life of the engine and simply began to do what this little train believed he could do. He began to strain forward and the train began to move. Now, this little engine had never been over the mountain, much less pull a train, a heavy train, up and over. But all along the way, this little engine continued to say to himself, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And using the power of affirmation to do what? To encourage, to motivate, to inspire, and to ultimately achieve. If you've ever had an opportunity to read the story or watch many of the videos that are out there around the story of this little engine that could, as this engine is inching its way up the mountain, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And when it finally peaks the top of the mountain and begins to go down and pick up speed on the other side as it's getting the train to its destination, I think I can became, I thought I could, I thought I could, I thought I could, I thought I could. Why? And what is the lesson that we can learn from this little engine? We don't set goals based upon what we know we can already do. Now, far too many of us live life far below our potential because we simply accept the familiar and we don't want to leave it. Our affirmations that we speak over our lives, and we do it daily, whether we realize it or not, those affirmations either validate this and leave us where we are, or our affirmations can help us envision something greater, something bigger, something better. And those affirmations can inspire us to step outside of our comfort zone and venture into the unknown. In the early 1960s, President John Kennedy met to make a bold declaration about taking America into space and landing a man on the moon. When he spoke to a national audience, John Kennedy boldly declared, we will put a man on the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. This positive affirmation statement, we will put a man on the moon in this decade, that affirmation statement inspired a generation to boldly go where no man had gone before. And in 1969, astronaut Neil Armstrong became the very first human to set foot on the moon. Now, at this point, you may be saying, John, what is an affirmation? An affirmation, simply put, is an I am statement. Now, you and I, we speak those all the time, whether we're aware or not, we're doing it. We think affirmation thoughts, we speak affirmation thoughts. And as a result of that, we live out the results of what we're thinking and what we're speaking over our lives. But sadly, and all too often, the type of affirmations we speak on ourselves don't build us up, but rather they tear us down. See if these sound familiar. I'm so dumb. Why could I be so stupid? I'm just not good at this. I'm not smart enough. I'm not fast enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not as good as this person or that person. I'm always messing up, always making mistakes. I'm no good. I am worthless. I am a failure. Do any of those sound familiar? Well, of course they do. We probably all at some time or another made a negative declaration like that over ourselves. But here's where we need to become aware of what we're saying to ourselves. Because the more we say these things about ourselves, the more we believe those things to be true. The words we continually speak over ourselves become a self-fulfilling prophecy, either moving us towards success or towards failure. So here's a success principle I want you to grasp. And hear me when I say this. Your I am statements define your life. Your I am statements create an image in your mind that is continually reinforced each time you speak those words. It's like adding an additional bar of rebar to the concrete of your mind. And remember, the subconscious mind sees in pictures. That reinforced image you continue to speak over yourself is going to cause your subconscious mind to focus on that to the exclusion of everything else and work tirelessly to bring that into your existence. So it's very important you be aware of what you're saying to yourself and about yourself. Life and death, success and failure are in the power of the tongue, the words we speak over ourselves, about ourselves. Think about it this way. Your I am statement is literally building a blueprint in your mind of the type of person that you want to become and the type of life you want to experience. Your affirmations, whether positive or negative, are giving direction to your thoughts that are constantly saying, this is what I want in life. Ignore everything else and focus solely on bringing this to pass. Life and death, success and failure are in the power of what you are saying to yourself every single day of your life. Remember, you and I, we are creatures of habit. But what is a habit? A habit is nothing more than an idea that we've repeated to ourselves over and over again until that idea has become ingrained and cemented into our thinking. Remember that our brain loves the familiar and prefers to automate as much of our routine as possible to conserve energy. And as we continually tell ourselves, do this, become this, do this way and only this way, you're only going to be able to become this. As we make those affirmation statements to ourselves, here's what happens. Our brain internalizes it, it automates it, and it turns it into a belief system and a routine. What are we doing? We're affirming the way success comes into our life or failure comes into our life. When we affirm our way into creating success habits, what do? We're stretching ourselves, we're challenging ourselves, and we're inspiring ourselves, or we're either reaffirming the same old thoughts, the same old habits, and the same ideas we've always had that keep us stuck right where we are, frustrated that nothing is changing for the better. And sadly, you and I, we get to choose the affirmation statements that we speak over our lives. So we're either affirming our way to success or we're affirming our failure, we are affirming our way to failure. Our I am statements define our lives and become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You are speaking into existence. I am speaking into existence. And you and I are continually reinforcing by our words the person we want to become and what you and I are capable of doing. Now, unless we're intentional about our I am statements and what we're speaking over our lives, here's what's going to happen. You and I are going to ultimately surrender to what we truly want and what we truly believe we can become, because it's easier to simply settle for what's easy, what's comfortable, and what's familiar. If your goal, your dream for the future isn't big enough, it's not bold enough, here's what's going to happen. You're going to give up and you're going to go back to what you know. You're going to settle for what's easy, what's comfortable, what's familiar, and you end up living far below your potential. Now, why do we do that? Because when we're stretching ourselves, when we're getting outside our comfort zone into that uncomfortable place where growth happens, when we're reaching for the stars, guess what? We're going to experience the pain of growth and the pain of failure. Failure is part of the growing process. When we were children, we didn't immediately come out of the womb and jump on a bicycle and start riding a bike or driving a car. We had to learn to raise our head. We had to learn to sit up. We had to learn to stand. We had to take those first awkward steps, and we fell a bunch. We failed several times before we mastered the basics of mobility in our lives. All through life, we do that. Failure is part of growing, maturing, and becoming a better version of who we are. Our I am statements that we speak over our lives reinforce the version of you that you are becoming, even when it's difficult and even when you fail. Now, think about that. The I am statements you are making about yourself reinforce the version of you that you're becoming, or simply the version of you that you are remaining. There is such power in affirmation that is overlooked. And as a result of that, we fail to achieve the success in life that we are truly capable of becoming. Affirmation statements wrongly used actually prevent you from achieving all that you are capable of. But affirmation statements used properly and used intentionally are going to prevent you from quitting on the road to becoming the better version of you. Affirmation statements, those I am statements, are essential for achieving big results in your life. Why? They continually reinforce the dream. They continually reinforce the goal or the outcome that you want. That desire that you have to reach for something that's just outside your grasp at the moment, but you know you're going to get there and ultimately achieve that thing, whatever it may be, if you just keep going, moving forward, and growing and learning and maturing. So if we're creatures of habit, and a habit is nothing more than an idea that is constantly repeated until we automate it, understand this. Our I am statements that we have the ability to speak into and over our lives allow us to reprogram our brains to think and act in a brand new way. This is how you and I can become a more successful version of ourselves, and how we can bring about more successful outcomes in our lives. But, and there's a big but there, it requires that you and we be intentional about the I am statements we are speaking to ourselves, about ourselves, and the world that we want to create and experience for ourselves. We've got to pay attention to what we're saying to ourselves. Don't forget this. You and we are human beings, not human doings. Affirmation statements, those I am statements you're speaking over yourself, are about becoming more than you are right now. Now, why is that important? Because when you become more, you're capable of doing more. And when you're capable of doing more, you're now capable of experiencing more success in life. So let me give you 3 action steps as it relates to affirmations and I am statements that I believe will help you in this area. First, you've got to create an image in your mind of what you want and what you need to become in order to achieve what you want. For example, if you want more money, you've got to see yourself as prosperous. What do you need to become to achieve that? If you want more success, you got to see yourself as successful. What do you need to become to achieve that? You want to define the person you want to become and is necessary to achieve all that you want to achieve in life. That requires some reflective thinking. Secondly, you want to create a series of I am statements that clearly define and clearly outline the person you intend to become and what that looks like for you. Now, if you need a template or a guide, just simply refer back to Joel Osteen's I am declaration I previously shared, and you can query that online and use that as a template, or you can visit the courses section of my website at beablackbeltleader.com, and you can find more affirmation resources there. Thirdly, once you've created a series of I am statements, you want to declare these I am statements over yourself 2 to 3 times a day or more. For sure, when you rise in the morning and right before you go to bed at night, here's what I want to challenge you to do. Look yourself in the mirror and make your declaration. This is who I am, and then speak your I am statements boldly. You may even want to write out your I am statements and put a copy on the bathroom mirror. So every morning as you're getting ready to start your day, those bold declaration I am affirmations are staring you in the face. And at the end of the day, as you're getting ready to retire to your bed, you're having to look again and affirm, this is who you are. You want to speak those statements boldly and declare them to be true over and over again. Now, when you're doing this, you want to speak in the present tense, not the future tense. You're saying, I am. You're not saying, I will be. The mind sees those things differently. When you tell your mind, I am, then the mind works diligently and tirelessly to bring that to bear. What are you doing? You're training your mind to see yourself this way right now in this moment. You're anchoring that declaration deeply in your subconscious. And then your subconscious can diligently go to work, as it tirelessly does, to bring that to pass in your life. Now, if you want to add a third time, maybe the middle of the day at the end of your lunch break, it simply serves as another anchor to solidify this new, improved, more successful version of yourself in your subconscious thinking. And here's what's going to happen over time. As you continually do this, you're going to internalize the process, and it's almost going to become automatic. Why? Well, think about what's happening. You're reprogramming your thinking. You're creating a new, more successful habit in your life that becomes a routine you want to continue and expand upon. And as a result of that, you're going to realize that you're becoming a better version of yourself in the process. Now, lastly, you want to keep adding to your I am statements over time. Because as you become a bigger and better version of yourselves, your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations for the future are also going to expand. You're going to see opportunities that have always been in front of you that you never believed were possible. And now you've got to think into the I am version of yourself you've got to become to reach and achieve those. By constantly adding to your I am statements, what are you doing? You're continually stretching yourself, growing yourself, and improving upon yourself and refusing to settle for status quo. In essence, you're creating a bigger, better, brighter image of yourself over and over again. You're raising your own awareness of who you're becoming and who you are right now and what you're capable of doing at this moment and expanding those opportunities limitlessly into the future. You're inviting more opportunity and more success into your life. Remember, as you think and as you speak, you become. So I want to challenge you to use the creative power of I am to become all that you're capable of becoming. Affirm this and you will go far. I'm Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. Thanks for joining me for this Black Belt Leadership Podcast, and have a great day.